When I heard about the Steam Summer Game Festival, I decided I was going to play all of the demos and make a video about it. And then the festival happened and over 500 games were included. I played as many demos as I could, totaling somewhere over 100 of them. Here are the 78 games that I thought were worth mentioning from the demos I could play before they broke after the game festival. I've included the name of each game, my hype level for the game on a scale from 1 to 10, and the release date on Steam on screen over each game. The games are in order from what I am least excited for to most excited for. I hope you enjoy, and let me know what you are most excited for. Grounded is a beautiful game. The graphics are wonderful, but bugs. I can't stand them. I got the creepy crawlies and had to stop playing after a very short time, but I think this game could be potentially good if you can handle giant ants, spiders, and whatever else I didn't end up encountering. In Undungeon, you are a creature trying to save the many dimensions which collided, I think. Honestly, there was so much dialogue and backstory that I got bored, so I'm not really sure of anything about this game. It appears to be an open world roguelike, and I'm not really into open world games, but it looked good if you enjoy a heavily developed storyline and world in your games. EverForward is a beautiful game created by the same developers that created My Time at Portia, which is a game I love to pieces. However, this is a 3D puzzle game, which is a genre I am not particularly keen on. It seems to go through the dynamic of a girl and her mother, although I didn't get far enough to get a full grasp on the game. Lord Winklebottom Investigates is a fairly standard British detective point-and-click. It's not bad, and I like how the characters are developed. The puzzles didn't feel too far off from logic, but for some reason I cannot place, I felt like the game lacked a certain amount of charm. Sayri is a beautiful puzzle game. You play as a creature that just landed on an alien planet and try to help new friends. I'm not huge on this genre of game, but I feel like the game was very well done, and at bare minimum, it's just fun to look at how pretty everything is. Encodia is a point-and-click adventure game about an orphaned girl and the robot that was assigned to take care of her. In the demo, it had you stuck far away from home with no way to get back. I got stuck on the puzzles in this one and ended up moving on since I had a lot of demos to get through. The puzzles were not something that was very logical to work out in my opinion, but I might have just missed an area or something. Jumpala is a multiplayer party game where you are trying to be the last one to jump on blocks before they fall off the screen. It wasn't very fun with 1 to 2 players, and I didn't have a chance to get more players to join, but I think it could potentially be a fun little game to play with a group of 3 to 4 players. Ghost on the Shore is a walking simulator where you play as someone who got someone else's voice stuck in them. You're chatting with them and walking around an old abandoned settlement. I thought the voice acting was wonderful, but I had to quit the demo very quickly as I was having a lot of screen tearing, and it made me motion sick. I really wanted to enjoy A Pirate Quartermaster, but I couldn't figure out how the navigation in the game worked. I think it could be a really fun game, but I wasn't able to get a very full grasp on it since I was stuck in an early game place. Aurora the Lost Medallion is a point-and-click adventure game that appears to be aimed towards older children and younger teenagers. The lore of the game is quite interesting. These kids are raised by robots and the outside world is deadly. I really liked the lore and story building, but I probably won't be playing it due to it feeling a little too focused on the coming-of-age audience. Eldest Souls is a Souls-like boss rush game. You wield a greatsword that delivers slow but powerful attacks. Honestly, I personally tend to enjoy quick weapons in games, and I don't enjoy only fighting bosses. If you like those two things, you'll probably enjoy the game though. Duster is a roguelike set in the Wild West. I really liked how you started the game by buying supplies to use on your journey. The combat felt very basic, but there is promise in the concept. I'd just say we need to wait and see how they do in optimizing the game, as it lagged for me while I'm using a gaming rig. Aquamarine is a little puzzle game where you are trying to find your way back to your crashed ship in a bubble device you can use to take underwater. The gameplay felt really unique, and I'm excited to see how this game develops. Forgotten Fields is a very unique game. You play as a writer who's dealing with art block, going through their daily life, and even playing as the person in the story as they write it. I feel like this game has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see how it progresses as it is developed. Now, I don't like dating simulators, but if I did like them, I'd love Best Friend Forever. It's a dating sim focused entirely upon owning your own dog. You pick a dog at the local shelter and teach it skills. They even made a play on words by naming the dating app Woofer. I really wish I enjoyed dating simulators enough to enjoy this game, as it looks like a genuinely good game. RoboQuest is a first-person shooter where you are a robot trying to go get stuff for your human. I like the stylized graphics, but I'm not a shooter player, and I found the enemies to be a little lackluster. However, the movement in the game felt good. Forsaken Realm is a 2D side-scrolling city builder. I think the concept has potential, but during the demo, the game just ran too slowly for me. As you can see in the gameplay, as this is real time, it took forever for the character to move from one spot to another. If they fix this during development, I think this game could be very fun. My Train World is a relaxing little puzzle game. For some reason, I have this odd love for train puzzle games, as I like the way they make me think. I found this game a little frustrating as the puzzles were difficult. It was put together in a way where you had to think out everything rather than guessing and checking easily, which bothered me. Path of Thalanos is a fun little roguelike game. It is controlled entirely using the mouse and has a more classic feel to it. I found the combat in the game to be fun to learn, and I think it could be a fun game to play while waiting for something, as it seems like something that would be easy to pick up and set down. Mirror's Tale is a pretty 3D platformer. I enjoyed the world building, but the demo didn't really give too much backstory, at least as far as I got. The platforming feels good, but the areas felt a little too open. It was hard to figure out where to go at times. Witchwood is a puzzle adventure game where you are a witch trying to figure out how to lift a curse. The game itself seemed fairly unique, and I enjoyed the graphic style as well. Fallen Angel is a hack-and-slash game that has very difficult combat. The controls were a little too floaty for me, but it seemed like a good game if that is a genre you enjoy. In Dreamscaper, you play as a girl who goes into a roguelike adventure every time she falls asleep. Her day is very short, as in the demo, all you could do is try to make friends with the people she runs into at the city. I loved the art on the levels as it made the roguelike atmospheric in a different way than any roguelike I've ever seen. Inmost is a game being published by Chucklefish, a puzzle platforming game that is very dark. In this world, the enemies are the creatures made of black goop, and touching it kills you. Magic Twins is a co-op game where you're trying to make stuff such as clothing dye. The gameplay was unique and really fun in co-op. However, the game wasn't fun at all when playing single player, and the game does not say it will be online multiplayer on Steam. It could be really fun if you have someone to play couch co-op games with, though. I think it could make for a fun little at-home date. Jessica is a unique story/hacking game where you are trying to find information on someone named Jessica who died. You are doing a service for her family and trying to recover important data from their computers. Legends of Ethernal is a cute side-scrolling RPG about a boy whose family gets attacked and his adventure to save them. I felt like the demo had gameplay that was a little too punishing, but otherwise was very fun. I definitely think it will be a fun game once it comes out. The Uncertain Light at the End takes place in a universe where robots have taken over mankind and all people are murdered. However, you are part of a group of people who are hiding from them, somehow alive. This is the second game in the series, and I didn't play the first game, so there are definitely things about the world that didn't make sense, but overall I had a good time playing the demo. Void Train looks like it could genuinely be fun, but I got motion sick from the motion blur very quickly. The demo was meant to be a display of mechanics for the game, and I think the proof of concept is definitely there. Assuming the game continues to develop well, I think it could be a really fun game to play. Beat Hero was a very charming RPG about a boy who wants to become a hero. However, the journey he was promised turns out to be long since completed by people prior, and the city at which his adventure had happened is nearly abandoned. In this game, you help clean up a pub and explore the area nearby. I really enjoyed the game even though the controls didn't quite feel tight enough. Retro Machina is a top-down action game where you are a lost robot who has to fight other robots from an old abandoned world in order to try and get repaired. The game was very pretty and had some unique mechanics that I enjoyed playing around with in the demo. Unbound Worlds Apart is a very unique puzzle platformer. It has beautiful graphics and reminded me a little bit of Ori and the Blind Forest in a way. I enjoyed the demo for this game quite a bit. Slender Threads is a point-and-click horror game where you are a writer, trying to find something to write about via traveling. You then stumble upon the home of a missing person and the investigation begins. The game definitely looks like it could be a fun play. Roki is a pretty puzzle adventure game where you are a girl somewhere where there is a lot of snow. I enjoyed the puzzles and thought the world was very well built. Gestalt Steam and Cinder is a game where you play as a girl who does freelance work trying to stay alive and is known for her combat skills. The art is extremely well done and the steampunk world is nicely crafted. My one problem with this game is there wasn't much enemy variety in the demo, but I assume that will be fixed upon full release of the game. In Metropolis, you are an archaeology team far in the future that is going through the ruins of an old society. They're on the search for the fabled Metropolis, which is supposed to be a city completely underground, comparative to the fabled Atlantis. The world building and characters were all really fun, and the game looks like it could be a fun adventure. Kaze and the Wild Masks is a platformer that felt a lot like the Super Mario Bros. Games to me. The game felt polished well and had some pretty challenging platforming. I also really enjoyed the graphics and could see myself having fun playing this game in the future. In A Juggler's Tale, you play as a girl who is forced to work in the circus. This game is a 2D side-scrolling puzzle game with absolutely amazing narration. I really liked the uniqueness of having every living thing attached to a sky like puppets. It does a lot to create a world different from anything I've ever seen before. In Return, One-Way Trip, you are a girl who went camping with her friends where they all disappeared. You then get stuck on a haunted train looking for them. I really enjoyed this game, as the horror aspect wasn't cheap in any way a lot of horror games are. I personally really enjoy a good atmospheric horror game. I'm excited to play through the full story of this game when it comes out. In Children of Silent Town, you play as a girl named Lucy in a town where children go missing if out after dark. I really liked the art style for this game, and I thought the story was very well written. I also enjoyed how the puzzles weren't something you could only figure out by randomly clicking. Everything fit together in a way that made sense. In Backbone, you are a raccoon who is a private detective. You are working a case in the underbelly of a dystopian Vancouver, BC. I really enjoyed the art of the game, and I appreciated how they tactfully created a dark tone as well. It was also interesting to see how the choices you make during dialogue completely changes the root of the game. In Disjunction, you are in a dystopian world trying to get to the bottom of a political figure being framed for murder. You go to various facilities to try and find more information about what is really going on. I really enjoyed the mechanics of the game, as the stealth portion of the game wasn't slow, but definitely needed to be thought through. In Spiritfarer, you are a girl whose job is to run a facility of sorts to help the dead pass on. It is a very pretty game with what looks like a fun variety of things to do. My one annoyance is I just couldn't figure out how to do the fishing correctly, but yeah, lots of potential. In Starmancer, you take control of a ship and print colonists to live on it. You give people jobs to do, go on expeditions to other places for resources, and try your best to survive. I was sadly disappointed by the lack of ability to control pawns, and I actually ended up dying due to the game not pausing or slowing down when my pawns were near death. I think with a few quality of life features added in, this game will be really fun. When I played Watch Me Stream My Mental Breakdown, I was actually streaming. It was hilarious how meta everything was, and the main character was hilarious, being the standard person who quits everything to try and make a career streaming. The gameplay was a fairly standard card game, but the humor makes it really fun. I'm really excited to see how this game develops. Touch Type Tale is a strategy game about learning to type quickly. I think it would be the perfect game to give your kid while they learn to type. I wish I had something that good when I was growing up. I actually really enjoyed the gameplay, and I think it's going to be a genuinely fun game. Dandy Ace is a roguelike with a very unique combat system. Your attacks are cards that you pick up, and you can upgrade any card with another card to change how it works. I really enjoyed trying out the game, and I am excited to see what additional cards are added with time. In Space Routine, you try to manage a family to get where they need to go each day. Part of the fun is how hard it is to move them from place to place, and I really enjoyed how it is a hectic, fun little management game. In Grobot, you are a robot on a spaceship that just had a crash landing or a malfunction of some sort. The art in the game is similar to that of an intricate painting, and the puzzles didn't seem overly difficult. I had a wonderful first impression of this point-and-click adventure game. It feels like a very unique atmosphere and world. In Silicon Dreams, you are a person assigned to determine whether or not androids should be kept in commission. I really enjoyed how it goes in-depth talking to each android, analyzing why people may be suspicious of whether it is safe to keep these androids working. I feel like the game is done in a very unique, enjoyable way. In Going Under, you are an intern who must quite literally fight for her job. You start by picking up random items around the place to fight with, and the game only gets more ridiculous the further in you get. Beyond Two Souls is a game by the same people who made Detroit Become Human, and is about a girl who has superpowers. It's a relatively well-known game, and has recently become available on Steam, hence having a demo in the Steam Game Festival. Astronauts is a game about being a space mechanic that gets her own ship and goes to live in space. The game has management aspects and goes fairly in-depth story-wise. The demo didn't have much of a tutorial, which made the demo hard to play, but it definitely looked to have potential. Arietta of Spirits is an RPG game where you play as a girl named Arietta visiting the old cabin where her grandmother lived prior to passing away. On your first night there, you meet Arco, who introduces you to the spirit world, and from there, you learn that you need to protect it. The pixel art for this game was beautiful. My only problem with the game was that you can only attack in the standard left, right, up, and down, which made the combat feel a little awkward. Mr. Prepper was a game that seemed to be fairly early in the development stage when I played the demo, but it has a lot of promise. You play as a man who's on house arrest after trying to flee his country that for whatever reason won't let people leave. I could easily see myself getting lost in this game making a large bunker. In Wayward Strand, you are a girl who's visiting an airship that I believe is a retirement home. Your task is to learn everything you can to write a paper for school, and I really enjoyed getting to know all the characters. The game was filled with charm, and I'm excited to see the full game when it comes out. In Haven, you play as an adorable couple that are on the run from main civilization. You visit an alien planet where your ship gets destroyed and you have to figure out what to do. I'm not fully sure how to classify this game. The combat is real-time, but set up in a turn-based fashion. I guess I'd classify it as an action-adventure game. It definitely looks to have some potential. Do Not Buy This Game is a game similar to the Stanley Parable. The developer of the game is also the narrator, and he does an amazing job at it. I actually found the demo for the game to be funnier than the Stanley Parable, and had a great time playing it. Gone Viral is a roguelike where you are a prisoner who's on a game show trying to go viral. When I initially played the demo, I played it in a standard single-player mode, and it seemed to be a chaotic roguelike. But since I played the demo, I got to try out the Twitch integration, and man, it is insanely fun to play with integration. The game is brutal in the way that any roguelike should be, and I'd especially recommend it for fellow Twitch streamers. Crumble is a physics-based 3D platformer where you play as a ball that can jump and swing from any surface. It's really difficult, but also very fun. I haven't actually played Cluster Truck before, but I think it would be comparable to that game. Syntherapy is an interesting visual novel about a therapist trying to help the first sentient AI handle their emotions. I really enjoyed how it felt like choices actually mattered, and the game had a lot of charm. Breakpoint is an intense twin-stick shooter. You're a little triangle that uses weapons that quickly break, and upon breaking, they make an extremely strong hit. I wasn't very good at the game, but I had a blast playing it. We Should Talk is a game about choosing how the dialogue goes, picking exactly what to say to who. I really enjoyed the mechanics of the game, and I'm really excited to see what the full game ends up looking like. Have you ever wanted to play Undertale but have it be a rhythm game? If so, you're in luck with Everhood. The combat is brutal and characters greatly remind me of Undertale. I enjoyed the small amount that I played of the demo of this game. Make Your Kingdom is a cute colony builder where you manage resources to make a town. It almost felt like a 3D RimWorld, and I'm assuming that there ends up being combat further down the line since the guy you control has a sword and shield, but that is not confirmed anywhere. If this game ends up having outside threats, I think it could be really fun. Puria is a really fun arcade game. Basically, you have 2 buttons you can use, and it goes through a series of minigames for 10 seconds each. As you continue, you unlock more minigames, and the games all increase in difficulty. I could see myself actually becoming quite addicted to playing this game as it's surprisingly hard. In a way, I'd group it in genre-wise with something like Super Hexagon. In Radical Rabbit Stew, you are trying to fight the evil rabbits in order to get your people back after being ambushed. While I'm normally not huge on puzzle games, I had a great time playing this game, as it is also a top-down melee combat game. Kiwi is a fun, challenging two-player co-op game. In this game, you are kiwi birds working at a postal delivery service where all the machines are not exactly practical. I had a bunch of fun playing it, and I'm really excited to hear that the game will have online co-op when it launches on Steam. In Outrider Mako, you are a girl that got under some sort of curse where she needs to do deliveries to lift it. The combat of this game is really difficult, but I had a lot of fun with it. The game just generally had a good feel to it and was enjoyable to play. Papetura is an absolutely beautiful point-and-click adventure game. Everything in the game is handcrafted with paper, and the atmosphere of the game was tastefully done. The charm of this game is definitely top tier. In Midnight Protocol, you are a hacker trying to make some money for a big project. In a way, the game is kind of like coding, but without the tears and sweat. You attack nodes with different commands, and honestly, playing the game made me feel really cool. I normally don't enjoy the standard JRPG combat systems, but for whatever reason, I fell in love with Cris Tales very quickly. I love the art, the characters, and the game was just chock full of charm. You play as Crisbell, a girl who has the ability to see everything around her in both past, present, and future. The way this is implemented using a large triangle on the screen was really unique and cool. I'm extremely excited for Garden Story to come out. It is an RPG where everyone is veggies and you have to fight the rot away. The game is adorable and yeah, I just can't wait for it to come out. The Survivalist is a game that looks a bit like Don't Starve Together on the outside, but also includes many things that Don't Starve Together does not. For example, you can set enemies to do the tedious tasks of the game for you. I really enjoyed the demo, and I'm excited to play the game when it comes out. I had an absolutely wonderful time playing No Umbrellas Allowed. It is kind of similar to Papers, Please in a way, but instead you are running a pawn shop. There's many underlying stories that seem intriguing, and I'm excited to play the full game. Hammerting is a game where you are in charge of a group of dwarves, making them a place to live and also helping your side to win a war. To me, the game felt like if Oxygen Not Included had outside threats and a timed end goal. The gameplay was really fun, and I think the concept that they have going is very promising. Battle Cakes is an adorable game where you play as a cupcake with the goal to become a hero in a world where every sentient being is a cake of some sort. The characters are hilarious and unique, and the art is ridiculously cute. This game was absolutely wonderful to play, and I personally cannot wait for it to come out. I really enjoyed Black Skylands. It's an RPG where you're trying to fix up your ship, but you also have to fight enemies in a combat system similar to what is in many top-down roguelikes. The gameplay felt really good, and I can easily imagine myself sinking too many hours into it when it comes out. Wait, you actually watched the whole video? I didn't expect anyone to watch through this whole thing. Thank you for that. This video took me countless hours over an entire month to make. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, you hated it? Wait, why are you still here then? Oh, right, I'm voicing the outro. If you enjoyed, please check out my Twitch. I stream there 4 days a week. What game looked the most interesting to you? I'd love to hear your thoughts over my Discord, in Twitch chat, Twitter, or even the comments below.